Your purpose, your calling is the thing that keeps coming back time after time. It's not something that you could just push away. It's not something that you could let go of and avoid or cope with it by doing something else. You might be able to do that momentarily, temporarily, but once you awaken to it, it just keeps on calling. It's not something that you could simply fend off. And the reason I'm saying this is because I feel that oftentimes we overwhelm or burden ourselves with ridiculous expectations and standards, with unnecessary timelines, that we have to get this thing done by that time, that we have to figure out a way to make this thing work out, that we have to turn things around with this specific thing, that we have to create results, that we have to have success with that thing. Otherwise, that opportunity is going to pass us by and it's never going to come back. That's going to be it for us. We think that this is going to be it for us and we're never going to have another opportunity. We're never going to have another opportunity at success or to have results with that same thing. And so we start desperately trying to think of all of the ways and all of the reasons why this might work out, why this might be a good idea, and we ignore all of the reasons why this might not be the thing we need at that point, why this might not work out. And we ignore what our bodies are telling us, we ignore our intuitions, and we simply go on head first into that thing. And while that might be a good thing, a good approach at some times, because you need positivity, it's positive thinking, it's optimistic, and it helps you get over that initial state of stagnation and shift that state of mind, push through that comfort zone to start having some results, to start doing something new. Many times it's very unhealthy and distressful. And so you cling on to that relationship. You try and forcibly figure out a way to make that relationship work. You cling on to that failed pursuit. And many times that's not what we need. Many times that's not what's meant for us at that point, because it's not what we are currently aligned with. And it's not what our bodies need. It's not what we need at that point. And the problem with that is, if you go into something with that much doubt, with that much pressure on yourself from the beginning, with that much doubt, with that much distrust, while already being so distressed and so much sick of what's happening, and you're desperately trying, you're already desperate, and you're going into that thing, you're forcing that thing, that often keeps on manifesting later on at different parts and of that journey. You're gonna keep finding that you're gonna struggle with it so much. It's gonna keep causing suffering and distress for you. It's gonna keep not working out for you. It's gonna keep creating problems for you because you started it with doubt, with that much doubt, and we set that much pressure on ourselves to make it work out while it was not the thing that we felt aligned with. And that pressure is what holds you back. That much doubt going into something, that much struggling going into something, is what manifests more and more problems, that keeps you from breaking through, from having a breakthrough with that thing, from figuring out that thing, from creating results with that thing. And we keep on fearing that if that goes by, it's never gonna come back. We're never gonna have such an opportunity once again. But that's not true. You know, can you imagine just how long have I been thinking about making videos on YouTube? Not making videos like sharing this specific type of content on YouTube, because I used to make violin videos back then. I was learning the violin and I was sharing my progress. If you go to my oldest videos, you're gonna find some of that. But it kept coming back to me time after time. No matter what I coped with, what I indulged in to avoid it, what I got myself distracted with to avoid sharing this, because I felt I was not ready. I felt, I was not yet ready. I needed to perfect it. I need to figure out the perfect way to share videos. I need to get my head straight. I need to plan like 100 videos beforehand before I could start. I need to get camera comfortable and this and that and all of those things. I was not comfortable talking in front of the camera and all of those things, and that put more and more pressure on me. It was that thing. It was me doubting myself. It was me not feeling as if I'm ready. It was me setting ridiculous expectations and timelines, and I have to, I have to get to grow this much by that time. I have to experience this by that time. If I start doing those type of videos, I have to be able to share all of those things by that time. It was me thinking in that way that made me even delay it more and more, because it was overwhelming me. It was too much for me to handle. You cannot go into something, while you have everything, all of its different aspects under your control, perfected in perfect manner. Life simply does not work that way. You have to take one step, and then the next step will lighten for you. But what I'm trying to say here is that, I kept trying. I would go into something else, and I would say, I would started while doing that thing, but I did not want to just, rely on that, or not rely, but like free myself up to this thing, and then I would get distracted by that other thing, and I would never take this step. And then that other thing, that other distraction would go away, and this would still remain, and this would come back. I ignored it once, I avoided it twice, I coped with it 3 and 4 times. I did not. I kept pushing it away. I kept saying later on, and it simply kept coming back. No matter what I indulged in or I distracted myself with, it took some time, and then it disappeared out of my life. It went out of my life, and that remained, and this remained. And this is what I mean, that it keeps coming back time after time. No matter how you try and cope with it, once you awaken to it, it's not something that you can fend off. And that's why you should not set on yourself that much pressure. That's why you should not go into it with all of that ridiculous expectations, because the more you're gonna set more expectations and standards and pressure on yourself to have it in a specific way, the more you're gonna keep pushing it further, and the more you're gonna feel as if you're not aligned, because you're trying to be aligned with being a professional in that thing while you didn't even start doing that thing. You're trying to align with the perfect state of that thing while you did not take the first step, and that's why you're gonna be feeling all of that doubt and all of that pressure and all of that struggle going into it. And if you go into it with that type of mentality, while you're at that kind of alignment, trying to align with its future while you still did not even begin with it, then you're gonna keep on manifesting more and more struggles and more distress and more suffering with that specific thing. Otherwise, you're gonna delay it, which is probably the better choice at this point. Delay it until you get your head straight, until you feel that you've lowered your standards, until you feel that you've set normal standards. Because don't think that you're gonna, if you're lowering your standards or expectations, then it's gonna be just that. But it's actually the other way around. If you detach, if you do not expect that much from the outcome, if you're just doing it because you want to do it, that's how it starts working out. That's how you experience a breakthrough. That's how you create the results and success with that thing, the results and success you wanted with that thing. Because we think if we don't, set that ridiculous expectations and series of unrequited timelines and this or that, we're gonna have results that way. But it's the other way around, because we detach from the outcome. We're doing it for it. You're being you for you. And it's going to be easier for you to start. And if you start while you're feeling easy about whatever you're doing, if you go into that relationship feeling easy about it, if your intuition, if your alignment, if your vibrations, if your emotions, if your thoughts are all pushing you towards that thing, you're not going to manifest more and more struggles and suffering and distress. Maybe later on, once you unlock a new stage with that thing, you already experienced a shift, a relative breakthrough with that thing, and now you're thinking about something new, and then you're gonna go into that loop once again, into that cycle of setting ridiculous expectations, of being so hasty and wanting to get things done so fast and so quickly, and ridiculous expectations and all of that. And then you're gonna be doing it all over again. But you would already have experienced an initial type sort of a breakthrough, because you went into it ready, feeling ready. And so don't be afraid that if you let it go now, it's never gonna come back. Don't set the ridiculous expectations and timeline on yourself. Always know that whatever is meant for you will find a way for you to come back to you. Whatever you're seeking will seek you back, always, forever.
No matter how many times you ignore it, no matter how many times you avoid it, it will keep coming back. But at the same time, keep and try and get yourself into that state in which you're not trying to create results with that thing. You're not desperate for a specific outcome with that thing, but rather you're just ready for that thing because you love that thing, because you want to be doing that thing, and that's it. Because that's what's gonna make you ready. That's how you're gonna feel ready. And when you feel things are falling into place within you slightly towards that thing, that's when you take that step to avoid further and further complications along your journey on that thing, with that thing, to avoid further suffering and struggling with that thing along your journey. So don't go in too fast, yet don't delay it too much longer than necessary. And how to stop delaying it much longer than necessary is to lower your expectations, is to detach from the outcome. It's not about expectations or standards, simply detach from the outcome. Do not do it for what you expect, for what it promises, for what you want out of it. Do it for it, like I'm saying. Do you for you. Love life for life. Love God for God. Love yourself for yourself, not for anything else, not for what you can do, not for the success you're gonna have, not for the results you're gonna create, not for what it's. Just do it. And that's what really gets you started. That's where you start from a place of peace and ease. And that's how it becomes so much easier and fluent later on. With that being said, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to my channel, because it helps me so much and it helps this video find its way to many more others who might actually need it. Thank you so much for tuning in to another video by AfsConsciousFrequency.